Well, Kathy, I tell you what, there is a JMPD Nyala that has been stationed here at Maponya Mall, but by and large this evening, as you'll see, I'm going to step out of shot so that my colleague Nkosi will show you that some community members have actually taken matters into their own hands, patrolling vehicles that are driving up and down this particular road. This is one of the entrances, one of the main entrances to the Maponya Mall. These community members, Kathy, are saying that no one will touch this mall. You'll know that the person who this mall is named after is one Richard Maponya, who's a beacon of black excellence, who bought this land in 1979 so that he could build this mall. Someone who has, by and large, also been someone who has been about empowering the community of Soweto. This evening, Kathy, I'm speaking to you from two vantage points. We have a drone that is flying over Maponya Mall, and we'll see from the visuals that it is a quiet scene at this particular mall because there are members of the community station. But here on the ground, my colleague Nkosi is also showing you the fire that has been started by some of those community members as they brave this cold winter night in protection of their mall. And I'm going to ask my colleague Nkosi to come back to me because I'm going to bring in one of those who have actually come to protect this mall. He's not a military personnel. He's not particularly someone who is trained. Well, perhaps you are trained, but you haven't been deployed here specifically by authorities. Mr. Nhlanhla, tell us why you're here. I saw you were carrying a rifle. Yes. Why is it so important for you to protect Maponya Mall?
Yeah. What's important for everyone to understand, right, is that the township economy belongs to the ordinary people of the township, being us. So if we have the dependency syndrome of always waiting for a savior to come and save the township, we'll keep dilapidating the way we are currently. So we are saying we are in partnership and joint ops with all law enforcement to ensure that what's left of the township infrastructure from an economy point of view is protected, and it's our responsibility to ensure that we protect it. We know Soweto is a place of millions of people with 11 police stations. That already tells you the stats alone that the SAPS, Metro Police, is not enough. They don't have the capacity necessary. So it's important for the community to take responsibility, partner with law enforcement to ensure that our infrastructure is protected the way you see. We've got community members going through scanning, helping us to scan cars, any suspicious cars, those with training.
How are you identifying these suspicious cars, if I may ask? And just explain to the viewer what you were telling me off air about the modus operandi that you've discovered, those who are trying to enter this mall. What are they, how are they actually trying to do this?
Not trying. We live in Soweto, so we understand the intelligence on the ground. So what basically happens is they rely on the little kids. I don't know if you've noticed with the media that half the time when you see people looting, in Soweto especially, it's people under the age of 21. And then obviously the grannies follow because they want to pick up a TV or two. But these guys, they rely on the young kids and they attract them in numbers, and then they open the malls, they break the shops, and the kids go in and the chaos starts, and then the community follows at large. So as soon as you see young kids gathering, you must know that it's about to happen. And so half the job was done when you ensured that the community does not gather around here regardless of whatever the situation is.
Why did you think it was important to come here at night? What have you noticed from the intelligence that you've gathered? When are the most sensitive moments to ensure that even if you leave at 6 in the morning, you're counterproductive because it could start at that time?
Yeah. Mamela, we are taking shifts. I've personally been here before sunset, long before sunset, right? I even posted a video to say that people must come out, and people adhered to the call, and they came out. So we are all here ensuring that we're protecting the big elephant. If you understand Maponya Mall, there's a big elephant out here, and it's one of the only malls that haven't been looted. Everything else has been looted. We have grannies who are on chronic medication. They can't even get bread because the spazas are shut down, the businesses are shut down, the malls are shut down because of looting. So we said no, to hell with that. We can't be at the center of just observing when the township dilapidates. We have to come up and see how we can gather resources, combine resources, join hands, and then ensure that we sort this mess out.
Just lastly from me, you're at one of the entrances, but Maponya Mall is a big mall. Do you have other people stationed at different parts of the mall?
Yeah.
But linked to that, those people who are stationed there, are they capacitated enough to deal with any eventuality that could take place overnight?
One thing that especially the looters, they're very smart, they're well informed, they watch the news. They must understand that tonight they're not only dealing with law enforcement, they're dealing with their match, right? They're dealing with their match because when they come here with pangas, our pangas will come out. When they come here with guns, our guns will come out. We're not taking chances. So to answer your question, we can't expose our plan fully. But what you should know is that we have enough firepower to last us until sunrise. So if someone wants to come and test us through the night, more than happy. Some of us are willing to die, and it's not for the camera. It's real life stories. We're here, and we don't send anyone. It's not a hashtag thing. It's not a Facebook thing. We're here real life. We're ready to die. When I left my house, I told my mom, I told my family that this may be the last time I come back, and I'm happy with it. So they must come and try and see that Soweto does have real men that are really willing to protect the community, the women and children. Full stop.
Well, Kathy, that's Nhlanhla Lux, fed up Sowetan, a Sowetan who's ready to deal with whatever they may be faced with this evening. And you would have heard they're ready in all aspects. This is one of the last malls that has not been looted here in Soweto. Jabulani Mall, Diepkloof Square, Bara Mall, just some of the malls that have been looted this morning. In fact, starting a couple of hours ago, 72 hours ago, when this particular shutdown moved from KwaZulu-Natal and arrived here in Gauteng. In fact, Soweto was one of the first places where we saw the looting arriving. The intelligence minister and the police minister telling us that they've done a whole lot more to avert what could have happened, and it's just that we're not seeing it on TV. However, Kathy, you know, the reality is that this is a different situation to what's happening on the ground. Community members here, and I'm going to ask my colleague Nkosi to show you, community members coming out, braving the winter cold to actually come and protect one of the last shopping centers. Mr. Lux telling us that the township economy is what they largely rely on, so they cannot allow this mall to be destroyed. Also reflecting on how there were attempts earlier on to try and enter this mall. Interesting, I think, for me at this stage, Kathy, is the modus operandi using children to come and scout what's happening, to come and open the gates, to make way then for adults who are essentially destroying their own community and economy.
Ziyanda, when we look at the kinds of ways in which the malls and shopping center in Soweto have come under threat over the last couple of days, one would have anticipated that this region of Gauteng would have been one of those that the military was deployed to. Tonight, where you are, any sign of the South African Police Service, any sign of the Defence Force that is there to bolster some of their efforts?
None whatsoever, Kathy. It's actually quite astounding that I haven't spotted them. And I mean, I'm talking about from the moment when we came into Soweto, not a single military truck, not a single soldier, boots on the ground. And we know that the risk of looting usually takes place overnight. We've seen none of that at this stage, other than that Johannesburg Metro Police Department, Nyala. And it then begs the question again, Kathy, about intelligence and whether or not they have a handle over this, where whether they even have a heat map of sorts, where they are monitoring where it's likely to unfold. I mean, one of the garages just up the road from here at Maponya Mall is also packed to the brim with taxi operators and citizens trying to fill up their cars because there are fears that petrol will run out, because the trucks that are meant to deliver fuel, some have been burnt. Routes to come in and out of Gauteng have been blocked. If you listen to what our colleagues in KwaZulu-Natal have been telling us regarding the N3 route, Bergville, Pietermaritzburg, Howick, all the way up through to the Midlands, those particular areas have been blocked off. So as my colleague Nkosi will show you, patrolling is being done by community members. they have taken matters into their own hands. Mr. Lux says this is a reinforcement of the current deployment of authorities, but not a single SAPS vehicle, not a single military vehicle. In fact, the last time I saw that was when I was stationed at Alex Mall, after the fact, by the way, Kathy, when everything had settled. Even when Police Minister Bheki Cele arrived, it was after the fact. It actually gave the picture of a war zone. And so, you know, the Police Minister doing a walkabout, not quite clear what it was supposed to achieve, other than to tell a few of those who were there that they must stay at home tonight. But in terms of the odd 2,000 soldiers who are meant to be deployed, I haven't spotted one, as members of the community are stationed and will be taking shifts to protect Maponya Mall this evening.
All right, Ziyanda, we're going to have to pause it there for tonight. And, you know, many will criticize some of the action that we've seen taken by communities over the last 2 days specifically, who are saying that they are not going to allow violence to take place under their watch. What are the alternatives that these communities are being provided with? Yes, it comes with a whole set of risks. Harassment, we're seeing racial profiling taking place in some communities. We're seeing harassment slanted along racial lines in some communities. What is the alternative? Where is the law enforcement that is supposed to take charge of the situation and bring some sense of control? We're going to leave it there with Ziyanda Ngcobo.